on a lighter note, are you a fan of the cyberpunk genre? I can like it. It's not an aesthetic that I like will jump at, but I have a feeling that like there is a good space in like the fictional space for, because like a lot of like when you think about what cyberpunk was about the anxiety being created by the increasing intervention of technology in our lives, and also the overwhelming growing power of super big corporations. So those two factors together feel like they are very similar to the moment we're in now. But the kinds of things that like people who were into cyberpunk, who wrote cyberpunk stuff like back in the 80s were doing, or 70s and 80s, like the kind of stuff that they were afraid of is very different from today. Like the anxiety of like you see it a lot in like Blade Runner, right? Like the anxiety that that Japanese culture was going to take over like Western culture, and that there would be these mega corporations that would basically like put us in our colleges and like dominate our lives in different ways, and like advertising and those kinds of things. But like the kinds of anxieties I have about technology intervening in our lives and mega corporations now has more to do with them like controlling things like our methods of communication, our ways of talking to each other, our information, the way we think, artificial intelligence being able to guess the things that we want before we do, and surveillance and like all of that kind of stuff. A lot of cyberpunk that comes out today has this more interest in the aesthetic of cyberpunk rather than like the real like the actual things that it was about. Kind of like how there was a whole bunch of Hunger Games knockoffs that really didn't get why, didn't really understand the purpose of dystopian fiction. And if you think about it, cyberpunk is kind of supposed to be dystopian fiction. And you end up with stuff like from what I've heard about Cyberpunk 77, like a game that had a real interest in the aesthetic of cyberpunk. It had no interest in what cyberpunk was trying to say. And so a lot of cyberpunk is like, I saw Blade Runner and I read Neuromancer, and so I think I know what cyberpunk is because it's like, it's neon and chrome, right? That's what it is. But it's like, no, it's like the horrors of corporate dictatorships and that kind of stuff. Same with like why Divergent and the Maze Runner and stuff like that were like piss poor substitutes for the Hunger Games. That's like, same thing.